Setting the wrists like this creates an effortless downswing. A couple of days ago, I had one of my students come and see me down here at the golf projects, and he was really suffering with getting into this, what we call cupped lead wrist position at the top of the swing. So what that was causing was, as he was swinging down, he was leaving the club face massively open, with the odd one strangely going way too far to the left. So he had this two-way miss in his golf game. So he felt like he was having to conjure up a lot of things in the downswing to be able to get this club face working in his favour. And we're going to be simplifying this and making this so much easier for you to do in this video. So welcome if you're new. My name is Harry, PGA golf professional, transforming golfers worldwide down here at the golf projects. And if you'd like to get involved, make sure you hit the subscribe button and drop a comment down below of a tips or drills video topic you would like me to cover in a future video. I'm here to help you, so drop those comments down below. So what we were noticing my student the other day do was that when he was swinging up to the top, it looked like he was getting, in terms of positioning in this swing, it looked like he was getting them in some really nice positions on the way back. P1 position looked good, P2 looked good, all the way up to the top of the swing. There was only one problem though. One problem in particular that I had to point out straight away as soon as we had a look and analysed his golf swing, was that as he was getting to the top of his swing, we were setting the wrist like this. And when we set the wrist like this, just to keep things simple for you, if we have a look at the lead arm here, then the wrist and the hand, this is set in what we call a very much extended wrist position. Lead wrist being the left hand for me, right-handed player. Lead wrist is very extended. So if I was just to bring this down now, just to show you, okay, so this is neutral, club face pointing towards the target. But if I was going to open that club face, what do I have to do without moving my arm? I have to move my wrist in this direction where my FootJoy logo on the golf glove is pointing more towards the sky. So this is what we were noticing taking place during the backswing stage of his golf swing. So although he was getting in some really nice positions for P1, P2, P3, and as soon as he gets to the top, we notice the FootJoy logo facing this way, with his right palm facing this way as well. And if you watch from here, rather than being in a nice and neutral position here, we were set in this position. So if you can imagine this now, as soon as we get to the top of our swing, with this lead wrist very extended in this position here, what can we do to hit the golf ball? Because as soon as we start to rotate, now the FootJoy logo, obviously from the club being parallel to ground, is pointed towards the sky, but look how open my club face was. And this is a little bit of an exaggeration to what we noticed my student do the other day, but he was certainly, I would say, around this position here. So if I was to move the ball here now and just make that swing again up to the top and then coming down, what can we do? Because we continue turning, look at that. Club face is left massively open, especially as well if we're promoting some shaft lean into the golf ball, because shaft lean is a promoter of an open club face. Watch this. So if I forward my hands, I'm going to automatically open the club face. So this, along with the extension, leads to a very open club face. So what's winning the race to the golf ball there? If we extend, and then if we transition the downswing correctly and get forward shaft lean like this here, the hosel, the toe end of the golf club, we open the face, but this also increases the loft presented at impact. So what will happen is when you do this and jump out like so, look at my wrist here as I do this, FootJoy logo is still pointing pretty much upwards, so I try and release it like so, and it goes too high like that one there. So in order for us to be able to set the club in a more what we call bowed position at the top of the swing, because we want to be getting rid of this lead wrist position here being a bit too extended, we've got to really try and exaggerate the opposite feeling to take place. So to begin with, what we want to be doing is we're going to take something as simple as a book, and you're going to leave the club on the ground for now. You're going to place it right in the middle of your palms like this here, of your hands, either side, so that when you set up as if you were to make a golf swing, the book is pretty much pointing at the golf ball. As you take the club back, the tendency that we'll notice a lot of you that get this extended wrist position will roll the wrists like this on the backswing. So as I mentioned, that FootJoy logo will point towards the sky as that club reaches parallel to the ground in this position here. So if the club reaches parallel to the ground in this position here, FootJoy logo points towards the sky, that means we're getting very extended because the club face is now open. So you want to be careful when doing this, but this is a great indicator to help you get a feel of what it should be like to take the club head back, how to keep the club face stable, but also how to control the wrists on the backswing. So you're going to take the book, pointing at the golf ball, and rather than getting this rolling into this position here where the FootJoy logo is pointing towards the sky, you're going to feel like that FootJoy logo itself or your right palm is going to be facing the golf ball. So when I'm not doing a lot of wrist movement here, I'm not forcing my wrists into this position here, all I'm doing is I'm just ensuring that that FootJoy logo is pointing to the golf ball. It's facing to the golf ball and my right palm facing towards that golf ball as well. Just that first part of the golf swing. So just getting to this point here, you're just going to take it back and forth and get a good feel for what this is like taking this club back. So number one, we're setting the club. Number two, now we want to be ensuring that our arm, the wrist and the hand are nice and straight at the top of the swing. If not, we can allow for a little bit more of this action here. And what's that? That is the bowed position. So we want to be neutral to bowed, anywhere in the middle. So anywhere in the middle of neutral to bowed. So I'm going to make the swing now, feel it here. Now I'm just going to swing up to the top, feeling like my FootJoy logo now is going to be pointing almost towards the sky, and my right palm is going to be pointing towards the sky as well. If you find that when you make a couple of practice swings with the book doing this, that one of the other suits you, so does the FootJoy logo, the feeling of the FootJoy logo suit you pointing at the golf ball first and then pointing towards the sky? Or is it the opposite? Does your right palm or your trail palm feel better pointing at the golf ball and then towards the sky? Give both of them a go and see what you think. So I'm setting the book in position here, FootJoy logo pointing towards the golf ball or right palm at the golf ball. Then I'm moving my way up to ensure that that FootJoy logo and my right palm are pointing towards the sky, almost directly towards the sky like this here. You can see that's quite exaggerated. It's going maybe a little bit too much the opposite way, but if you do this, I won't worry. I'd encourage more exaggeration, so encouraging more of this bowed position here, because if we're very much extended here, we've got to feel the opposite to neutralize things when you hit some golf shots. To go from one extreme to the other, that's going to help you find the middle. And it's all to do with that feel versus real concept I talk about in a few of my videos. If we take the book back and we only set it into this position here, the likelihood is when we take the golf club and do this and make a few shots, we're going to go back to this extended position here. So when you're doing this with the book, have it pointing towards the golf ball, up to the top, pointing towards the sky. And the initial move there for me to get that pointing towards the sky, I can just feel, because I'm using the book rather than the club for now, I can just feel my wrists setting in this direction here. Very different to the one previously, because we're controlling the takeaway now with our palms, so the FootJoy logo pointing towards the golf ball, as opposed to getting this rolling motion here, because when I take the club back now, well, the book back, look at that, FootJoy logo pointing in that direction there, extended position. If we control it here, have the right palm, FootJoy logo pointing at the golf ball, and then we work our way up, it's much easier for us to set it in this position here where we can get those hands, well, the hand here facing towards the sky and the FootJoy logo facing towards the sky as well. So once you've done this a couple of times, bring this all into one movement, and then you can start to work your way into practicing this with a golf club. So to start off with, you don't want anything too long. I've got an 8-iron here just to keep things easier for me. I won't go as low as pitching wedge because you won't be able to feel the difference. And I would recommend, before even giving any of this a try, hit a few shots so you can get a good understanding of where the flight of the golf ball is traveling. Is it going very high? Is it very far to the right? Is it very far to the left? And then you can judge the difference and compare the difference between before and afterwards after you've given this a try on the range. So I've got the club now and I'm just going to set up as normal, and I'm still wanting to try and visualize that book being there in between my hands so I can get this club working in my favor on the takeaway. So when I set the club now, A good indication with the golf club would be, well, we're still feeling that right palm pointing at the golf ball, the FootJoy logo, but because we're gripping the club now, it won't look quite the same. So a good indication for us is the club face itself pointing more towards the golf ball. So I'll get the club now and I'll take the club back. Is that club face now pointing more towards the golf ball? It doesn't have to be directly towards the golf ball, because that's going back to what we spoke about with the book. We don't really doing the opposite and setting the wrist this way, because that gets too uncontrollable again. We're just getting that club face to point more towards the golf ball or towards the ground. And we can see that my FootJoy logo is facing more towards the ground and the golf ball. And my right palm is pointing more at the golf ball, facing more at the golf ball as well. So as we set the club in this position here, where the club goes just before parallel to the ground, and we don't want to go any more really, because it's this move here that causes us to get this wrist movement quite a lot, and we exaggerate this. So we're setting the club here, just taking the club back to here. We want the FootJoy logo or my right palm to face towards the sky. And you can see there now of a golf club, it doesn't look quite as exaggerated, does it? But you can certainly see from that club face position there, that's facing more towards the sky. So that's a great indication for us that the wrist's in more of a bowed and flexed position at the top of the swing, rather than getting this extension. So I'm going to do this all in one motion now. So we're going to go 1 to here and 2 working up to the top. This is the feeling you want. You want to be exaggerating this. Get that right palm facing towards the sky, or the FootJoy logo facing towards the sky. You can think about both as well if you want to. I find that what works for me is the right palm. I find it easy with my right palm to face towards the golf ball and then to face towards the sky. You can even do this drill as well if you want to with your right palm. You're taking it back like so, and you're trying to set the hand up to the top of the swing as if you're carrying a plate, like a waiter. And we should notice, and you should feel as you're doing this, that it's much easier to allow the body, the lower body, to initiate that downswing, to fire in through the golf ball. If we've got this position here and we fire, we can't. Eventually we're going to slow down and try and recover from it. Whereas if we're set here and we rotate, look at that. Club face is fairly closed. So what we're going to do, we're going to fire even more to keep that club face square. Much easier, especially if we're creating the shaft lean. So watch this here. Shaft lean, as I mentioned at the start of the video, is a promoter of an open club face. If we get this extension and then we do the shaft lean, it's no good. However, if we get this bowed position first, look what happens with the club face. It closes it off a little bit. So when we get the shaft lean taking place, from naturally initiating that downswing move, starting from the lower body, if you're not too sure what this is, I would highly recommend after this video taking a look at this one over here. But watch this here. It's closed, and then I push my hands forward for that shaft lean. Look how square that club face is now. So this is what we're after. If you're someone out there right now that's really struggling with getting the club to fall in a downswing very naturally and trying to rotate through, and you're doing this very well, but you're noticing very wayward shots, the shanks at worst, then this is the drill you want to be doing. So we're getting the club, we're working up, we're feeling that palm or the logo pointing at the golf ball, palm and logo to the sky. Then we're just going to rotate through as normal. So it's 1, 2, 3. And look at that nice little draw there, starting slightly right of my target, working its way back to the target. And that is something right there that you should be going and giving a try. Don't forget you can contact me by commenting down below to let me know how you get on from watching this video, and by all means you can have a look on my online coaching platform Skillist if you want one-to-one tuition on there, or if you'd like to see more tips that will suit your needs on this channel, subscribe and comment down below that tips or drills video you'd like me to cover in a future video. And also the video that I mentioned earlier, the one where we want to be looking at initiating that downswing, how we can do this face, because these two link quite nicely. This one's for controlling that club face, and this one right here is for controlling how we initiate that downswing phase. And it's all to do with how we set impulses in our golf swing. Very easy, very simple. Make sure you check out the video over there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.